Today, we want to talk about motivation. How do you get the best performance out of your teams? Is it more money? Is it more vacation? Or is it something else? We're going to talk about it. Rise and shine leaders. This is Glen Guyton, keynote speaker and workplace trainer. It is time for our executive coffee break. I've got my beverage in hand, and I hope you have yours too. They say you can't choose your family, but you can choose your workplace culture and your beverage. I'm drinking coffee this morning. Leadership matters, so you might as well get good at it. All right, so this week we are talking about workplace motivation that drives performance. So let's kick things off with a quick recap of Maslow's hierarchy of needs. A theory from 1943, Maslow introduced a hierarchy of needs, suggesting that we're motivated to fulfill basic needs before aspiring to higher order ones. Now, think about this in your workplace. Are your employees' basic needs being met? Are they feeling safe? And do they feel like they belong? And so if you know about Maslow's theory, and I'll put a link in the description about it, there are a couple of different levels, 5 levels to be exact. The most basic level is the psychological needs. So breathing, food, water, shelter, just basic needs. Next, we have safety and security, health, employment, property, family, social ability. The next level is love and belonging, or we're thinking about relationships, family, a sense of connection. The next level is self-esteem, confidence, achievement, respect for others, the need to be a unique individual. And the final level is self-actualization. That's creativity, spontaneity, acceptance, a sense of purpose, meaning, and inner potential. So those are the 5 levels. So how does this apply to you in the workplace? How do you leverage an understanding of Maslow's hierarchy to improve your team's performance? First, you have to ensure that your team's basic needs are met. This means competitive salaries, a safe working environment, and job security. Okay, hopefully they already have the other needs met, housing, shelter, and things like that. But some companies even provide housing. If you are in a competitive job market and houses are expensive, you might have to supplement some of those basic needs. And this is even in high-paying jobs. People need a place for their families to be. They need a place to return to. And so meeting those basic needs in regards to compensation are really important to making employees feel safe, making them stay connected, making them feel like they belong to the team. Next, foster a sense of belonging. Team building activities, open communication channels, and inclusive policies. We're moving right on up the pyramid of Maslow's hierarchy. Supporting personal growth and professional growth fulfills the esteem needs, propelling your teams toward self-actualization. That's where we want to get to, the highest level, the highest performance, where our teams are creative. Now, just remember, when you're thinking about people in your workplace, people may be at different stages in this hierarchy. A holistic approach addressing both professional and personal well-being is essential to enhancing your team's performance. So just to recap that, 5 things, if we're going to apply Maslow's hierarchy of needs to the workplace, is address basic needs first. Number 2, create a sense of belonging. Number 3, put in place support for personal growth, encouraging and providing opportunities for your employees to learn more, to be more engaged, to get promoted, aiming to satisfy employees' esteem needs and drive towards self-actualization. And then number 4, recognize individual differences. People are different. They're motivated by different things. And number 5, adopt a holistic approach to applying these different levels to your team, because people, again, are in different places and they may fluctuate between the levels. This is not an exact science. And so what are the challenges with this? Again, I'm going to be talking about A total of 5 different theories here, different studies. And I want you to take these all with a grain of salt because they're not perfect. So some of the challenges with applying the Maslow theory to the workplace. First of all, it's important that we acknowledge the limitations of Maslow's theory, its cultural bias, and its oversimplification. But it does, I believe, offer a valuable framework for understanding motivation. So a couple of things to consider. Cultural bias. Maslow's theory is rooted in individualistic cultures, and they may not be universally applied across different cultural contexts, especially in more collectivist societies, where people like working in teams and groups. Here in the United States, we're very individualistic, and so understand that your employees may come from a different background. Now, there's also lack of empirical support. Some critics argue that there's insufficient empirical evidence to support the strict hierarchy proposed by Maslow, and I would agree with that. Noting that different individuals may prioritize needs differently based on personal, cultural, or situational factors. So again, people change. People have different priorities. Some people are motivated and driven by different things on that hierarchy. So again, it's not just a straight path for most people. Individuals are tricky. And there's an oversimplification. The hierarchy is seen as overly simplistic for capturing the complexity of human motivations and needs, particularly in dynamic and diverse workplace settings. Just keep those things in mind. I just want to share these principles with you so that you can think a little bit outside of the box in regards to how we approach our processes in the workplace. Sometimes simple is better. Sometimes we overcomplicate things. We do know that people will be stressed out if their basic needs are not met. We always have to start. What are the basic needs of our employees? And that may be different for each employee. Now, the other thing I want you to consider is that in our global and culturally diverse workplaces, we must adapt and contextualize needs, respecting the cultural nuances that influence motivation. So what motivates a person from my background or my gender, my life experiences may be different than someone else, especially if they come from a different cultural context other than the United States or maybe even Europe. Recognize that the prioritization of needs may vary across cultures. For example, collectivist cultures might place a higher emphasis on belongingness and community needs over individual achievement. When applying Maslow's theory, leaders should consider these cultural nuances in understanding what motivates their employees. It's going to be different. And I probably need to, we all need to think about that as we deal with different people, things that may be frustrating to us. There are some cultural contexts that we need to keep in mind. So here's a challenge for you. Identify one need at each level of Maslow's hierarchy within your team. Develop a plan to address these needs over the next month. Share your stories of transformation and the impact on your team's motivation and performance. I would love to hear from you. Now, as we close, let's not forget the strength and perseverance that it takes to lead with empathy and inclusivity. Better leaders get better results. So to every one of you leading the charge for a more supportive and engaging workplace, I leave you with this. Stay bold, stay inspired, and remember that your actions today shape the culture of tomorrow. You all have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful day. Hey, incredible viewers, are you ready to transform your workplace into a haven of respect and productivity? Well, I would encourage you to check out my book, Navigating Microaggressions at Work. This is an essential read for your employee resource groups to help you identify, address, and prevent microaggressions in the workplace, because I want you to foster an environment of inclusion and respect where everyone thrives. Make a choice that leads to a less stressed, high-performing team. The book is available on Amazon.